The name because we have Spire in Jinja. There's a Spire whole road called Spire Road and another called Spire Primary School.
I don't know whether it's related to that, but I get it from my dad. My dad was Spire, Joseph Spire Mtaonga.
Joseph.
So it was his middle name.
Spire Mtaonga.
Yeah.
A little bit about yourself. Who was Mtaonga?
Mtaonga was a civil servant. For a number of years he worked with government, first in the Ministry of, was it Fisheries, and he worked in a number of ministries as a permanent secretary. Even during the time he started in 1972, up to the time of his death, he was a civil servant. At the time of his death, he was working in Masaka as at that time we used to call them DC. Is that
District Commissioner?
District
yes. Commissioners, yes.
Yeah.
That's some time ago.
Yeah.
Around the DC title was used up to around
he died in 93.
Yeah, because the DC title worked up around 90, around there.
Yeah. By the time he died in 93, it was still used.
The title.
Yeah.
Was still a district commissioner. So where is that place you're talking about? What is the place you called home?
Masaka. Masaka, but the village itself is called Butozi. Now it's Chotera, on the borders of Masaka and Chotera.
Okay.
So part of our home is in Masaka, part of it is in Chotera.
Is that where you are raised, or you were born in Masaka but raised in Kampala?
I actually wasn't born in Masaka. I was born in Kampala, Zambia Hospital. Oh. Yeah, but every holiday we used to go to the village, so we have the attachment both to the village and to the city. Although at a certain time we left the city and went to Masaka because our father wanted to be closer.
When you say we, you mean how many? You seem to have been a good number?
Yeah, we are a family of nine children.
Children, yes.
Yeah.
Some good boys, number of boys?
That is 6 boys and 2 girls and 3 girls.
6 boys. So you grew up in a family of many boys.
Yeah.
That's very good. So
mostly boys. The girls are the first 2.
Born in Zambia, grew up sometime, then you start school.
Yeah, but much of my time was in Masaka, the earlier education. Because I think it's only nursery that I did here. That is, there used to be a school called Wandegea something. That's where I did my nursery. Because we used to live here in Makerere Chikoni. That's where my father's house was. From that, when we went to Masaka, I did all my primary from there, secondary part of it. Yeah, so much of my earlier life was in Masaka.
Which year is that now? Do you remember the year you did your nursery here?
Nursery, that should have been, I'm not quite sure, it should have been before 1985, 1986.
86. That's some 3 to 4 years ago. Do you remember how old you were when you started?
I could have been around 6 when because I started primary at 6, I think, P1.
At 6 years?
Yes, at 6 years. That was Blessed Sacrament, Chimanya, 1987, about there. I don't have a clear memory of the time. Yeah.
That's so much about the dad and the mom?
My mom also passed away, my father passed away in 1983, and the mom follows in 97.
Just 3 years after?
Yeah, just 4. Yeah, 4 years after.
Still in Masaka?
So the father dies when I'm in senior 1, mom dies when I'm in senior 4. Yeah, still in Masaka.
What a shock.
Yeah.
It's very big. Where were you in for your senior 4?
Senior 1 up to senior 4 I was at Bukalasa Seminary. Bukalasa Minor Seminary. I don't know whether you know there.
Yes.
So then I get expelled in senior 4.
Expelled?
In the first term, towards the end of the first term. So I finished the last 2 terms of senior 4 still in Chimanya, the secondary school. It was new by that time. So Chimanya Blessed Sacrament Senior Secondary. So that's where I finished my senior 4, and then I leave Uganda.
Oh, expelled for what? It is interesting. That at the age of senior
You know,
four.
for the seminaries of that time, it could have been anything. I can't say I'm very sure of the reason as to why I was expelled, because even when you are being expelled, you wouldn't really be told. For some of us, yeah, you could only suspect that it would have been this or that, because all I got was a note that I should try my talents elsewhere.
Or you drew a cartoon.
It wasn't a cartoon, but
teacher.
What I think would have been the case, you remember Chick magazine? Chick magazine.
Chick magazine.
Yeah, I don't remember who
Had
the
a lot of
proprietor was. But Chick magazine used to have in the middle a picture of a lady only wearing bras and knickers. By seminary standards, that was pornographic. So we were sent back home for school fees, and one of us came back with, there were about 5 copies. And I remember us falling over each other trying to get a copy.
Oh.
So soon after we had gotten the copies, the following day they conduct a search. So I suspect it's that, because
No, I want to confirm it was that.
It was that, because all of us who were found with copies were expelled.
So that's enough clue.
Yeah, it could have been that. I had other issues, like I had been caught with radios many times, but I don't know whether it was that. I mainly suspect it was the magazine.
Growing up, what do you remember to have been the most interesting thing that is memorable to you throughout school?
Nothing really much about school. The irony is that while I'm in education and I continued long after still in school, I wasn't really a fan of school. I never looked forward to school at any particular point. Actually, up to now, when I see children going to school, I sympathize with them. So I don't remember. There could have been moments of excitement here and there, but I don't remember any particular time when I said that now I really look forward to school. No.
Still in school, while in school, what is that game you used to play and enjoy? Football, soccer?
A bit of football, soccer, although I wasn't really that good at it. I played table tennis, I played volleyball. Yeah, that's all. Basketball I never tried because of its roughness. I couldn't handle, but...
You call it rough? That's what makes it interesting.
But the good thing in seminaries is that they expected at least every person to have a sport, at least to try. And the facilities were there.
I actually want to believe it was compulsory to have something to participate in one.
Yeah, so the facilities were there for those who would go for lawn tennis or table tennis or soccer, but you had to be doing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
We now get out of O level and get into A level.
A level, so when I was expelled from the seminary, initially joining the seminary was mostly my mother's dream. My mother wanted one of us at least to make it to priesthood. It was such a prestigious thing then. I don't know whether it was...
Why did you say then?
Yeah, well, even now. Let me correct that. But I think it has changed a bit now.
This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya.
Want to make my...
Even at that time, you still remembered those priests.
Oh, I still did. Actually, even up to now, I remember.
You still wanted to prove them.
You know, it's painful when you're expelled for a very clear reason. Well, I'm not saying I should be the one to determine the reasons, but when sometimes you can be satisfied with the reason and you say, well...
Yeah, there is a time that the heart is that really, even if it were you, would have done this.
But then the other thing was that I felt that it was not really empathetic, is it empathetic or considerate, not humane. I had just lost my mother.
A month after.
And they were aware, because they even came for burial when I lost my mother.
It's what came to my
They
mind.
came for burial, even other seminarians, they came on the school track. But 1 month later, well knowing I had lost the dad in senior one, I've just lost the mother, she's the one who was left. I'm not saying I should have stayed on sympathy grounds if I did not.
No, you would have. They would have talked to you in one way.
Yeah, so I just felt that, no, well, given that offense, maybe they would have left me to finish either senior 4 or to finish that term, because it was in the middle of the term. But you're expelling me in the middle of the term, I have to look for a school, I have to look for fees even to finish that particular term. There is no one to pay. We had actually been left almost destitute, a family of 9. Yeah, so it's for those reasons that it was still painful.
That's what made the education then a serious subject. And that's what made discipline and morality at that time a serious subject. And I can tell you that the Catholic Church has been very strict with that, that for them, for as long as it's a case of indiscipline, there is no compromise.
Yeah,
and it has kept them going because of that tradition.
Yeah, sure. Actually, looking back, I understand their side as well a bit, although it was still excessive. So, going back to...
Imagine an upcoming priest admiring a girl in the middle of a magazine with a bra and
in the middle of, yeah, and in fact it must have been difficult for them, because I wasn't alone. Maybe I would have been spared if I was alone, but it was a number of us.
That's it.
So they couldn't expel others.
That you go with them. We now get to philosophy.
So I'm asking myself, do I just want to prove those people wrong? Do I just want to make my mother happy wherever she is, that finally I made it to priesthood? Or is it really my calling? You know, at times we would be in church. First of all, I would dodge mass. Sometimes we had to attend mass every day. Sometimes I would dodge the entire week. From Monday up to Sunday, I even dodge.
Very interesting.
I even dodge the Sunday mass. So I asked myself, what kind of priest am I going to be? A priest who would be, maybe the Christians are there waiting in church. The priest is in bed.
Does in mass.
Or
does it even remain mass when you dodge it?
The priest is creating an excuse not to go for mass. At times I would even go to church with summaries of philosophy notes. I put them in the Bible. We used to have time for meditation, about 15 minutes before Mass. So as others are meditating, I'm holding my Bible as if I'm reading, yet I'm reading my philosophy notes. So I started reflecting seriously, and I felt, well, this is not my calling.
In second year now?
In second year, towards the end, I realized it was not my calling, that I was just forcing it. We had to write towards, I think, in the first semester of third year, we had to write a letter applying to go to novitiate, because you would go to novitiate before later going for pastoral work and then joining theology. So we had to write a letter applying to go to novitiate, and we were all asked to write. Of course, to write what you felt. I remember everyone else wrote applying to go, including those who did not intend to continue. But they thought that if they show it that they were not going, they could be expelled as well at that time before even finishing. But I said, no, let me be honest. So I wrote, I said, much as I really appreciate, I've learned a lot from the seminary. In fact, I learned so much from the seminary. I appreciate it up to now. So much. Much of what I am is because of that background.
That's shaping.
Yeah, so I wrote that I really appreciate, but I feel that this is not my calling. This is not my vocation. And even if I continued, I know I can make it to priesthood. but I will not make the kind of priest I would want to be, and perhaps not the kind of priest you would want me to be. They wanted me to continue, actually, unlike the first experience where I was expelled.
Oh.
This time I was really loved. For a number of reasons. I was very active academically, I was very active in art. I had made so many paintings all over the seminary. Up to now, if you go there, you'll find them.
Some still exist.
Yeah, they are there. You'll find them in the dining hall, you'll find them in the library, in the in church, even in their church. There are so many paintings that I had done. So they had really wanted me to stay. Maybe they looked at me as an asset for the congregation. And what made it worse is now when I finish philosophy, when I finally graduate, I get a first class distinction. The seminary was affiliated to a university in Italy, in Rome. It's called Urban University, Urbaniana. And it had been affiliated for a number of years. By then, I think 15 or 20 something, but they had never gotten a first class. So mine was the first class from the congregation. So now I get the first class, but at the same time they know I'm going to leave. Yeah, but still I had to
interesting
leave.
priests in your life.
Yeah, so that's how I left.
So you finally left priesthood.
Yeah. No, I didn't leave priesthood.
You had actually not become a priest.
I
You
left
left
the
philosophy.
seminary. Yeah. But that was after finishing philosophy.
Who was meeting those costs then?
By then it was free. We didn't have to pay. I think seminaries had funding from Rome and different sources. So we're not paying. So all my my experience in the major seminary, I never paid. My education in the major seminary.
Now you want to leave to where? For what?
Now that was the dilemma. I wanted to leave. I knew quite sure that I wasn't in the right place, but I was not sure what the right place was for me. I had thought of teaching at university, but I wasn't even sure that that would come true, because for teaching I knew you needed a master's, you needed to have a first class. So I would say I wasn't sure. So I left with that anxiety, with that uncertainty. And for 1 year I was actually just out there. I would help my brothers. By then some 2 brothers of mine had moved to UK, and my sister. So I would help them when they are building here, to supervision and all that.
Their works.
And then I also worked at a restaurant as a combining being a manager and a waiter. A restaurant of my uncle, he had just set it up. So I would serve, you would get people coming. It was at around Nakasero market. So you would get people, they command you, bring this, bring that. Yes, and then you sometimes sit and think, here I am with my first class degree. Here I am being insulted by these people.
The lowly.
Yeah, but you still wanted to survive.
To serve, yes, survival.
Yeah, until after that year, I talked to my brothers and sisters that I wanted to go back to school. So I came to Makerere for masters in ethics and public management, which I finished in 2 years. And actually, just as I was finishing, there was an advert by Nkozi, Uganda Matters University.
Yes.
They were looking for lecturers and assistant lecturers. Although I was finishing my masters, I was not sure whether to apply for lecturer or assistant. For lecturer, they had asked for a master's,
Which you are not completing.
but I asked myself, I had finished.
Okay.
It was only, I just hadn't graduated. I asked myself, what if there are people with masters and with teaching experience? that will put me at a disadvantage. So I applied for the lower
Assistant lecturer.
assistant lecturer, and I was accepted. That becomes my first formal job.
At Uganda Matters.
At Uganda Matters University. I had other jobs in between, informal. I had joined Observer, but as a part-time cartoonist.
Well, you worked for the Observer newspaper?
Up to now, it's not formal. It has never been, not full-time. But since then, since 2006, I've been with the Observer up to now. Now I even write, but I started as a cartoonist there. So 2006, I had joined the Observer. 2007, that's when I joined Uganda Matters University to teach. Yeah.
So from there, then now assistant lecturer.
You're also assistant lecturer. I grow through the ranks up to 20. No, maybe before that, I had wanted to start a PhD, but I didn't get opportunities immediately. So in between, I see a call, the Commonwealth call, the Commonwealth scholarships. I said, let me just try this. I applied for another master's.
Hey, now you're applying for another master's?
Yeah, for another master's. It was in education for sustainability. I was admitted. I got the scholarship, and I ended up I got the Dean's Award for being the best student on the program. It was with London South Bank University.
It's very good.
I got a distinction based on the program, but as I was still finishing that, actually midway that master's, I get a PhD scholarship. Now I had to decide either to
This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyangalutaya.
drop
The
the
masters.
master's and start the PhD, or to continue with both of them. I decided to continue with both of them. I did them simultaneously, and I finished the PhD in 2015.
Now PhD in what now?
In humanistic studies. It was philosophy, specifically ethics, but broadly the PhD is humanistic studies. And that was in Holland. Yeah, so for the education, that's where it ends. Now I was talking about the moving through the ranks. So from when I became assistant lecturer in 2019, that's when I was. But I was also working at Makerere for as a since 2011. Yeah, 2011.
So you got into Makerere in 2011?
In 2011 as a part-time lecturer in the Department of Philosophy, when I was full-time at Uganda Matters University. And then I became full-time at Makerere in 2018. Yeah,
That's
the
interesting.
journey briefly.
You're understanding Dr. Jim Spire Ssentongo, popular cartoonist, Chetumanyi. We have known you so much for your cartoons, although your resume seems to suggest something else. Anyway, in just a short break, we'll return and continue the interview.
This is Hot Cup at 9 with Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaya. Enoni Baba TV obusoga bulaire.
Is missing. My bag is empty.
But I packed some snacks in her bag.
Can you see that guy?
Hey kid, I have more for you from Sam's.
Sam's offers you a wide range of snacks. Sam's, taste the difference.
Olina kasenteko oyagala kulattako ofuneko wezimbira Julex otunda nyumba gye wezimbira oba oyagala kugula weddewo n'okutawuka Julex ekyapa kyo wakifuna oyagala kukikyusa kidde mu mannya go Julex buli luguudo lwewayagala oluyingira Kampala bano balinako ettaka Julex bamufuna mpola tuwonye bano batunda n'ettaka ku kibanja mpola Julex namwe be babbako ettaka nga byakulemerera oyagala anakulwanira Julex balina ettaka mu Kampala wo munnange yangu ofuneko wezimbira Julex
Property Consultants Limited tusangibwa Nansana